You experience it every day. The discomfort is every day, and everything affects my sickle cell. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know I am long overdue for a video, but thank you guys so much for tuning in, because today's video is super important to me. It really hits home. I just kind of don't talk about this topic a lot, but I've been super excited to do this video. I've been planning on making a video like this for a little while, but I did decide to wait till September because a lot of people don't know that September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And a lot of people also don't know that I have sickle cell disease. So I just wanted to come on here and make a video just to spread some awareness. Basically just talking about my experience with sickle cell and how it's affecting me, how I manage it, things like that. Because a lot of people don't know about sickle cell. A lot of people might have like an idea of what it is. A lot of people just don't know the real of sickle cell and like how it really does affect people in their everyday lives. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So yes, I do have sickle cell disease. And let's start with what is sickle cell disease, okay? Google, I'm reading right from Google, okay? Google says sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that affects hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen throughout the body. So yes, basically sickle cell is a disease that impairs your red blood cells. So normal healthy red blood cells are like circular cells, and people with sickle cell have healthy red blood cells, but they also have mines, and other people with sickle cell disease, they are like crescent shaped. They kind of look like bananas or like crescent moons. So they're not fully developed red blood cells. They're damaged in a sense. So they don't carry oxygen around the body like it needs. It doesn't deliver the oxygen that your organs need to function at its full capacity. And I also meant to add in that because of the shape of sickle cells, when they're traveling through the blood vessels, they can sometimes get stuck and like hooked together, and it blocks the blood flow from going throughout the body. And that causes like a lot of pain, and we call that a pain crisis. So if your organs aren't getting the oxygen it needs, it leads to organ failure, amongst other things. And unfortunately, my body struggles just getting the blood to deliver the oxygen that it needs. So I experience pain in different parts of my body. I mainly have problems in my arms. Most people usually have most problems in like their joint areas and things like that. So, but for me specifically, I mainly have pain in my arms. And, but if they get really bad, I do experience it other places. I've had it in my legs before. I've had it in my back. You can feel it in different places, pretty much everywhere, because you're full of blood. So yeah, to sum it up, that's basically what it is. So how do you get it? So to be born with sickle cell, you do have to inherit a trait from both of your parents. So both of my parents have the trait for sickle cell. My dad knew he had it on his family. He has other family members with it that he knows of, but my mom actually did not know. My mom is adopted, so she didn't know like her medical history on her side of the family. So she was unaware that she had it. But yes, both of your parents need to have the trait, carry the trait, have the gene for the child to have sickle cell. So yeah, actually have an older sister who doesn't have it. And the crazy thing is like back in the day when they were pregnant, when my mom was pregnant with my sister, the doctors recommended that she terminate the pregnancy just because it was like such a high risk of my sister being born very sick. But my mom is a prayer warrior. She was not letting that put fear in her heart at all. So of course she, had my sister and she was fine. My sister has the trait, and then they wanted a second child and rolled the dice again, and I actually got it. But I am blessed because there are different types of sickle cell. So the really bad one is sickle cell SS. The people who have sickle cell SS just experience more sickling. Most of their blood cells are sickled cells. So they're their crescent shaped cells. So they just experience more pain, more complications, and things like that. I am fortunate because I don't have SS, I actually have SC, which is the next one down. So I do still experience pain. I still do have crises, I don't know. But I do still have episodes, not as frequently as I used to. I used to have them very frequently when I was younger, and I used to be hospitalized for like weeks at a time, maybe even months at a time. And now that I'm older, I maybe have a crisis maybe once a year, and sometimes I'm in the hospital for like a couple days. the longest I've been hospitalized as an adult is maybe like a week, 8 days, something like that. So it did get better for me as I got older, but when I was younger, it was very, very bad. My parents actually found out that I had sickle cell when I was 3 months, and the episodes were frequent. Like, they were very frequent. I will say that I'm grateful for the fact that I experienced that a lot in my childhood, because I learned that that's not the case for everybody. Some people go through their childhood and adolescence not even knowing they have it until they get into their adulthood, and then they start having complications. I'm grateful for the way that, you know, my life has gone, because I just feel like when you're a sick child, you get all the attention that you need. Like, people really care. People are, you know, they're so loving to sick children. And I was definitely covered like a blanket. I was born and raised in Georgia, and here in Atlanta, we have an amazing facility called Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. CHOA kept me alive. I owe CHOA, my parents, and God all the glory, because they covered me like a blanket. I got all the medical attention I need, and they took care of me since I was like 3 months old. So I'm fortunate that I was in a place that had the resources that my family needed, but it's not like that in a lot of places. Sickle cell is also, I'm not gonna call it a minority disease, but typically minorities are the ones to have it. It is possible for, you know, Caucasian people or people of other races to have it, but it's predominantly a Black person disease. I was gonna say African American, but not just American. It's people who have ancestors. Apparently my ancestors are somewhere in like South Africa, because and I don't know if this is true, but I'm gonna throw this out there. I'll actually Google it, and if I need to cut it out, I'll cut it out. Apparently sickle cell was basically a mutation that came to fight malaria, and malaria was very, like, it was a disease that was really running rampant in like somewhere in Africa, something like that. And you know, malaria, you would get malaria from mosquitoes like biting you, sucking your blood, and so it came as like a mutation to fight off malaria. That is what I was told. Having sickle cell, you would think I did a lot of research. I really didn't, because it's enough to experience it. I didn't really want to have to go to school for it too, but I know enough to, you know, basically take care of myself and to keep myself from experiencing too many episodes. But I know that that's also just because I don't have the very worst kind of sickle cell, and because we found out when I was young, I've had years and years of practice of knowing how to take care of myself and how to prevent, you know, a crisis from happening. But a lot of people, they're not that fortunate. Like I said, most people don't know that I have it. You wouldn't know that I had it unless you've really been around me for a long time. Or like, it's just like, you know, it's not something I bring up in conversation, because honestly, it's very morbid to talk about, because there's not much you can do for a person with sickle cell, unfortunately. All you can really do is just give them like emotional love and support, and make sure that they're getting the medical attention they need. But as far as like for like friends and family, there's not much they can do. So I don't really talk about it a lot. It's just like a, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You get what I'm saying? All they can do is give me their sympathy and like their empathy, but you know, you don't always want people looking at you like you're disabled or like there's something wrong with you. So I never really talked about it a lot. I actually used to get picked on a lot when I was a child, because I was a sick kid. I just didn't look sick. And so a lot of the kids thought that I was like faking or like lying, making stuff up. And literally, like, they would be like, there's nothing wrong with you, da, 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 da. They thought I was doing it to like get out of gym or something like that. And it's just like, I would love to be in there playing with y'all right now. Like, I wish I really could play the gym games, but I literally, like, I had like a special chair during like field day. Like, I was not able to be as active as other children. So it was very isolating. And it wasn't until like I had a really, really bad crisis, and I want to say I was maybe in like the 3rd grade, and I almost died. I had to have like a blood transfusion and everything. Like, it was pretty bad, and I almost died. And I remember my teacher had the kids in my class make a bunch of cards, and my parents were so shocked. Like, they did not realize that it was something I was dealing with, but they were like, what are they talking about in the cards? Because most of them were like, you know, we're so sorry, we didn't believe you, da 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 da. Like kids are ruthless, but I mean, I know they're kids, they don't know any better, but yeah, like they used to tease me and make fun of me and like basically get upset with me because they felt like I was lying to get out of like gym and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I really have a disease, and you really wouldn't notice because like one day you're perfectly fine, and then the next day it's like, okay, I need help, I really need medical attention. And so you know, kids don't really process that, but I guess that's why I don't talk about it as much now that I'm older, because you know, it's very isolating. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't care about things that don't directly affect them. So even if I was to like tell somebody, it's just kind of like, oh dang, like it's kind of like a sad topic. So people just, you know, don't really want to talk about it. So I kind of shied away from it, but I realize now that it needs to be talked about because there's so many people who have it who aren't getting the medical attention they need. There's not enough resources for people with sickle cell. And I couldn't imagine living the life that I had as a child in my adulthood, just because like having a crisis when I was young, it always hurt. It was always painful. It was always awful. But you know, they treat children differently. When I have a crisis as an adult, it's very like, it's depressing because it's kind of like nobody, you know, not everybody's going to drop everything to be there for you. A lot of people can't, you know, sit there with you at the hospital. Like I know when I was younger, my parents used to fight over who's going to come visit me and who's going to stay the night with me, because you know, you can only have one visitor in the room, and I got all the attention I needed. And now that I'm older, it's kind of like, you know, when I'm in the hospital, I'm kind of by myself. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not at CHOA, so they're not being extra affectionate. They're not bringing me stickers and stuff. So it's definitely a lot sadder now that I'm an adult, but I'm just grateful that I don't have episodes as frequent as I used to. Like you can literally feel parts of your body like dying almost. Like it's hard to explain. Like imagine you had like a rubber band on your arm or something tied around your arm, like, and it's too tight and it's cutting off the circulation to like your hand or whatever. So like that tingling sensation you feel when like your circulation is cut off, you really can't really, like your hand feels weak and your muscles feel weak. That's kind of like what it feels like, except the tingling isn't a tingle. It's like stabbing knives, like it's like pain. So it's really not something fun at all. Like I've broken bones, I've had my wisdoms removed. Nothing has come close. I have tattoos, I've had dermals. Nothing has come close to a sickle cell crisis. I'm actually not excited, but I'm curious for when I have a child to compare the two. And that is another thing. I do plan on trying to have children. It will be, I'm not going to claim that it's going to be complicated, because there are people who have sickle cell disease and have children. I actually have a cousin that has the exact same disease that I do, and she has a few healthy boys and they are fine. They actually don't have the disorder because their father doesn't have the traits. So they, you know, weren't born with the disease. So that's my only goal. The goal is to just hopefully a husband finds me that does not have it, that runs in his family. I do plan on doing like the genetic testing beforehand, so it's not a surprise, but that's just something that I'm looking forward to, just to compare that, because I don't think there's anything more painful than a sickle cell crisis. I don't. And for people who don't really understand how painful it is, when I was a child, a small child, and I was having these sickle cell crises, the medicine, the pain medication that they gave me to help manage it was morphine. Morphine. I don't know if a lot of people know, but like if you get shot or something, that's when they give you morphine. Like they give you morphine if you've been stabbed up or if you've been shot or something. Like it's for like extreme pain, extreme trauma. That's what they give you morphine for. They were giving me that as a child. Like, and not just giving it to me, like I had like a button to literally just like administer it when I needed it, because it's like you're consistently in pain. We can only do so much. And even the morphine, you can still feel the pain through the morphine. It just helps it not be unbearable. But yeah, like just to put that in perspective, like I get prescribed Percocets. I don't like taking those at all. If I can manage it, I manage it with like ibuprofen. They prescribe me like 800 milligram ibuprofen, or I'll take like Advil. Those are like what I try to use. If my pain is not responding to that, then I will try Percocets, or you know, whatever else I have at the time. But if those don't work, then I am going to the hospital. The key to like managing it is pain management. My advice for people who also have sickle cell is to not wait until it gets so bad to where you try to do something about it. Like, it's not something you should ignore. So me, whenever I'm feeling any kind of discomfort, like as soon as I start to feel it, I'm taking me some Advil, I'm taking me some pain medication, because your pain can multiply. Like, discomfort can turn into pain, and pain can turn into like excruciating pain. So like, you really have to catch it when it starts, and don't let it get to that point. I've learned that. And instead of just trying to like power through something, that when I'm not feeling good, I would rather just stop altogether, whatever I'm doing, get that under control, and then go, because I'm not somebody who can just like manage through it. That's never worked for me. It's always made things worse. So that's my first piece of advice. Secondly is staying as hydrated as possible. And I know if you have sickle cell, your doctor is on you about this, because my doctor is on me about this. You really do have to drink a lot of water. My friends already know me. I am always thirsty. Like, I'm always dehydrated. I'm always very thirsty. But it's just a side effect of having sickle cell disease, because your body needs that oxygen. And outside of breathing, water is also how your blood gets its oxygen. So you really need to take in a lot of water, even extra water, because we need even more oxygen, if that makes sense. But like I said, my parents found out when I was very young, so they instilled, you know, good habits in me very early. So I've always been like a healthy eater. We never had like candy and snacks in the house. We always had vegetables, meat, and a starch. Like, it was a very balanced routine, home cooked meals. We never ate out a lot. So I thank them for instilling that in me, because even now as an adult, I eat very healthy. I love salads and greens and vegetables and all that good stuff. So a healthy diet definitely helps as well. But outside of that, there's not much else you can do. I know that there are cures that they have for sickle cell disease, but the only option available right now is a bone marrow transplant, a blood and bone marrow transplant. And then you do have to have a match. So not only is it very risky to do, and you would also have to find a match that would be willing to donate their blood marrow and things to you. It's also not a very cheap option for treatment. It's very expensive. It's not something that you would just, and like I said, I don't even know the success rate of it. I haven't heard too many people successfully being able to do that. So there are not too many viable treatment options. But like I said, I've been able to manage it. I've been fortunate enough to find ways that work for me to manage it. Something else that is definitely important that I realized early on is like being in a good mental space, because you know how they say like 90% of the pain that you feel is in your mind. I tried to adopt that concept. So I definitely try to stay away from like stress. Like, I try to keep myself in a good mental place. I try to, you know, decompress and not let things overwhelm me, because I don't want it to send me into like a place of like, I'm having a crisis, because it really does affect, like, it really does affect that. And also outside of that, be in good company. I know the love that I got from my parents helped a lot. And, you know, unfortunately not everybody's blessed with, you know, parents or family members or people who will shower them with love like mine did. But that helped me a lot as well, because and even just outside of my parents, I remember that I had a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend, and I had a crisis when we were together, and he actually came up to the hospital. It was very traumatizing, because he was crying, he was upset. He was like, you know, y'all, like, somebody do something, somebody help her. And it's like, you know, me and my mom and my sister and my family, they're just kind of like, you know, you gotta relax, because there's nothing they can do. Like, yelling is not gonna help. There's nothing they can do. You just kind of have to like brace the storm. And something that we did when we were together, like, you know, the same thing that they say, like, when you're going through labor, having like the man kiss you and like the physical touch, like the chemicals that it release kind of helps you with the pain. Same thing. He would come up there and would give me kisses on my forehead and would like, you know, just be there, just like the love that I felt from him. I felt it helping. Like that's not an exaggeration. It really did help. So I'm super excited to find a partner who is, cause I'm single right now, but like I'm super excited to find a partner who is willing to brace the storm with me. Cause I know that for me to be able to have kids and to live the rest of my life with it, it is gonna take me, you know, having a village, having a support system. And having sickle cell as an adult is even scarier than it was as a child. Like, I'm worried about being alone and having to deal with my sickle cell because it's not something I can always deal with by myself. Like, sometimes when my sickle cell is so bad, I'm not even able to like stand up or pick myself up off the floor. So it's like I'm, you know, a part of me is a little nervous of, you know, something happening to like my mom. And then because my dad has already passed away, so like I'm, you know, worried about my mom, you know, not being here and being able to, you know, tell the doctors what I can't tell them. Because like if I get into like a certain place, I can't really help myself. And it's a very scary thing, but like I said, so far I've always had the support that I needed. It wasn't until I was older to where I realized that sickle cell was different for everybody. And I would love to hear everybody's different stories about sickle cell and about how it affects their lives. I thought everybody had it the same way I did. Like growing up, you had it really bad when you were younger, and then, you know, it gets better when you're older. But I realized recently that some people go through their childhood, their adolescence without even knowing that they have it, and then they start experiencing it in their adulthood. And that is just crazy to me. And you experience it every day. The discomfort is every day, and just about everything in life affects it. Like everything affects my sickle cell. Flying, high altitudes bother my sickle cell. The flying is a new thing that I figured out recently. That I guess the altitude, that's what my doctor said, it bothers me. So temperature really bothers my sickle cell, especially like changes in temperature, like when it goes from like being really hot to really cold. That really, you know, bothers me. You know, everything pretty much bothers my sickle cell. Colds, you know, we have very weak immune systems, so we can't really fight off colds as well. So let somebody have like a regular cold and they'll be fine. They give me that regular cold, now I have pneumonia. And it's happened before, so I'm not even exaggerating that. Like, and when I tell you that morning I woke up and it was just like a little sore throat, by that night I was in the hospital. Like it comes down that fast and it's that aggressive. Because I just don't have the immune system to fight it off. So yeah, honestly, what really made me want to start being more active within the sickle cell community and being more vocal about it and just starting to advocate more for it is, and I see this video all the time and it really makes me cry. Like the first couple times I saw it, it makes me cry, and even just thinking about it, it makes me want to cry. But so it's a commercial and it's a little black boy, and he's like, today I want to talk to you about sickle cell. And it's so cute, and it's so, I don't even know how to describe how it makes me feel seeing them talk about something that when I was that age, nobody knew what it was. Like I said, like I got bullied because people thought I was lying about my condition. People made fun of me because I wasn't able to like keep up physically with other kids, like running around. Like I'm not like a fast runner or anything like that. But seeing that video, it really just, I don't know, like it really touched me, just because it's like so many people need to know that there are people who struggle every day, who live with things that they struggle every day. And it's, a lot of us don't have the option to try treatment and to overcome this. And it's like some people, it's just, when I was growing up, I never pictured myself living a very long life. Like I didn't. I honestly never saw myself getting like past like 25. And to be so young, but to fully understand mortality and to understand the fact that, you know, so yeah, in short, in conclusion, if you know anybody with sickle cell, just show them empathy. Don't pity them, but you know, just be kind, and just know that they're in an everyday battle. I feel my sickle cell every day. It's not a day that I don't notice that I have sickle cell. Even right now, I can feel the discomfort in my arms. And it's just day after day, it's just managing it. It's no winning against it. It's no none of that. I guess the win is another day, but it's an uphill battle every day.